Hey, welcome back. So today I'm going to walk you through 10 of my go-to plugins. These are plugins, I don't necessarily use them on every single WordPress site, but I tend to come back to these over and over again. I find they're really handy, so I thought I'd walk through those. Again, they're by no means the only plugins available for WordPress, but it's a good place to start, okay? So I'm going to go to plugins, and the first thing you might be wondering is how do I go about installing these? I kind of gave you a hint, right? And we did this very quickly in the last screencast. We had deleted the Hello Dolly plugin, and then we went and we reinstalled it. Okay, to go ahead and install plugins, to search for new plugins, we're going to click on the Add New button here right underneath Plugins. So I did that last time. I did it a little quickly though, but just to let you know, let's go back to the dashboard here. Whenever you want to add a new plugin to a WordPress site, all you need to do is go to the Plugins section and then you click on Add New. Okay? When you search through this box, that's the exact same thing as searching, whoops, let's spell this right, wordpress.org/plugins. That's the exact same thing as searching through this search box right here, except that it's from the comfort of your own WordPress site. So how cool is that? The first one I want to tell you about is the Ultimate Coming Soon page. Okay, what is the purpose of the Ultimate Coming Soon page? There it is right here, Ultimate Coming Soon page. The purpose of the Ultimate Coming Soon page is that this right here, okay, this is currently available to everybody in the world. Let's actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up, why don't I open up Safari here? And why don't I just have this open here? Because I want to show you what the site looks like to somebody who's just a regular site user, a regular person who's just randomly surfed to your website. There it is right here. Okay, notice that, here, I'm going to stretch this open just a wee bit. There we go. Okay, so notice that we're not logged in. We can tell that we're not logged in because we don't have this black bar at the top. But you know what? I'm still working on this site. I don't know about you, but I don't want the entire world seeing this site while I'm still working on it. Now, chances are, because we did indicate to WordPress that we didn't want, you know, under general here, we did discourage, oh, it wasn't general, it was under reading. Remember this? This was a long, long time ago. But under the reading section, we discouraged search engines from indexing the site. But that doesn't mean that nobody can access your site. Anybody could type this in and go to your site. So what I'd like to have is sort of like a coming soon page or a maintenance mode page, so that if you're not logged in, you see this kind of splash page. And that's what the Ultimate Coming Soon page is all about. There's other plugins that do this, but I really like the Ultimate Coming Soon page because I just think it's really intuitive and it's easy to use. So Ultimate Coming Soon page, let's go ahead and search the plugins for that and let's find it. There it is right here. We could just go ahead and install it now, but I'd like to take a look at the details first. And this is important. We see here that here's a description of what it is that this, and see it does quite a lot, what it is that this plugin does. We see some information about installation. We see some screenshots here. That's cool. You see the changelog. We don't worry too much about that. That's more developer information. And there's an FAQ in case you've got any questions. Okay, one thing that normally I would caution you about is if you see something that says warning, this plugin has not been tested with your current version of WordPress, normally I would say be careful. Okay, the issue here though is that we are currently, today is August 13th, and WordPress version 3.6, the current version of WordPress that I'm using, was just released like days ago. So I'm finding, as I was prepping for this lesson plan, I'm finding that a whole lot of the plugins I normally use have not been fully tested with my current version of WordPress. Now, so in that case, if you're hot on the heels of a new WordPress release and you really are itching to install new things and you keep coming into this warnings right here, if you're feeling a bit brave and adventurous, here's something else you can do. You can look at last updated right here. If you get this warning and you see last updated 2 weeks ago, I mean, that was just 2 weeks ago. I feel pretty confident by seeing this that the author is on the case. This author has actually updated this particular plugin, you know, in the last 2 weeks. So I think it's just that it hasn't been fully tested with the current version of WordPress because the current version of WordPress is brand new. Okay. So in this case, I feel comfortable going ahead and installing this, so I'm going to go ahead and click install now. That's really a decision for you to make. Lots of the other plugins I'm about to show you will you know, we won't give you this warning, but I wanted to show you what one of these warnings looks like and help give you the information you might need to make a good decision as to whether or not to install this. Okay, enough talking. Let's go ahead and install this. I'm going to go ahead and click install now. And we're going to see what this looks like. Okay, so it does all that stuff. Let's go ahead and activate this plugin. And so once you activate a plugin, one of several things might happen. You might get an extra icon in here. In this case, we did not. Sometimes you get an extra settings section right here. Or sometimes right here, if you hover over settings, suddenly there's a new link right here. That link wasn't there before. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this and see what we can configure here. And here we see, oh, look at this big ad, of course, you know, advertising their Pro version, but we don't need the Pro version right now. What we do need is we just want to enable this. So I can go ahead and say, yes, enable my coming soon page. I could upload an image if I wanted to. I could do headline, say, we're under construction. Sorry about that. Please come back soon. There we go. We could add a link. Maybe we could, in the meantime, add a link to a Facebook page or something like that. That's no big deal. So let's go ahead and click Save Changes. And we can see we can preview it here. Now what happens if we go here? Why can't we just preview it here? Well, because we're logged in, right? We're actually logged in as a user on this particular site, so we're not going to see the coming soon site page. The whole way that this works, the way that this is meant to work is so that if you are an actual user of this particular site, if you're an administrator for this site, you will never see that coming soon page if you're logged in. But if you're not logged in, check out what happens here. There we go. And now, unless you're logged in, you will not see the page while it's under construction. Yay! And of course, if we wanted to log in, what would we do? We would just add WP admin and we'd be brought to the login page. Okay, so that's how we install and configure the Ultimate Coming Soon page. In this case, you know, that was actually pretty straightforward. Very often you will find an extra little settings, an extra link under settings will be added here. And that's a good example of what, you know, installing a plugin and then you do have to go configure it. A lot of times the plugin won't just start working out of the box. Let me speed through that. That was an awful lot of time to talk about just one plugin. I'd like to talk to you about a couple more here. Why don't we just go here and let's take a look at Jetpack by WordPress.com. I could have just clicked right there. It's right there. Check this out. I'm going to go ahead and click on Jetpack by WordPress.com. This is actually a really cool, it's like a suite of plugins. And you might be thinking, WordPress.com, aren't we on WordPress.org? Yeah, WordPress.com, if you remember, I think a while ago I talked about the whole, the WordPress what was available for the hosted version, the self-hosted versus the hosted version of WordPress. And we're currently using the self-hosted version of WordPress. But there's also, like, you could have a blog at WordPress.com. It's the same engine, but you're limited. However, there is this set of tools available called Jetpack, and they're really, really cool. And so they basically ported these over so that they're available to people who are using WordPress.org. And it's a whole bunch of different, it's like a package of tools. And you get things like statistics and email subscriptions and social networking and a commenting system and really cool stuff, extra widgets, and different things like that, and you can kind of turn these on and off. It's actually a whole bunch of plugins all wrapped up together, and I really like it. So it's a really nice suite of plugins. Another one that's really handy is called, I'm going to show you what it's called. It's called WP Google Fonts. Here we go. WP Google Fonts allows you to add extra fonts from the Google font library so that you're not stuck with just these fonts right here. You could actually use a whole bunch of different, you could specify other fonts and fonts that are stored in Google's free font directory. And so that's a really nice thing. When you start tweaking the design of your page, you could take advantage of WP Google Fonts to tweak some of the fonts and really customize the look of your page. Another one that I like to use a lot is Next Gen Gallery. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, Next Gen Gallery right here. This, and by the way, I'm going to have links to all of these in the show notes as well too, so don't worry. So Next Gen Gallery, this is one of the most, this is apparently is the most popular WordPress gallery plugin, and this is really handy if you want to extend the the um, the functionality, the gallery, the image handling functionality of your site. If you're not satisfied with the way WordPress currently handles the media, the images, and the galleries on your site, you can actually install this, and you can have a lot more control over creating different types of galleries and slideshows and all sorts of things like that. So that's actually really powerful too. The last one I'm going to show you in this screencast, then we're going to take a break, is the Sound Cloud is Gold plugin. And this is, if you're not happy, again, if you're not happy with the way that WordPress handles the default SoundCloud stuff. We saw this. We actually, we played around with using sound and embedding SoundCloud. Let me go find, I think there was a Paul Federici thing, wasn't it? Let's find Paul Federici. I think we embedded a SoundCloud. There it is. New song right here. Do you remember when we embedded this right here? There we go. If you're not happy with that, if you want more options, you can install the SoundCloud as Gold plugin. And this gives you all sorts of cool things where you can browse through SoundCloud tracks. You can add a whole bunch of sets and favorites. You can add a whole bunch of different things. You can do a live preview. You can customize the way the player looks. There's a lot of cool things you can do. I've tried out a lot of different SoundCloud plugins, and I find that this is probably one of the best ones. And because I tend to work on a lot of music sites, this is one of the go-to plugins that I tend to go back to over and over again. Okay, so there's the first 5. In the next screencast, I'm going to go through the next 5 plugins, and maybe we'll activate a couple more. We'll install a couple more plugins and sort of play around to understand how that works. But that's it for now. Stick around. I'll see you in the next screencast. Thank you.